Now next is evolution by stage. The complex organism and its organ develop from the simpler organism gradually over the generation, which want to say that complex organism and its organ develop from the simpler organism and their organs from the gradually over the generation. Means gradually generation to generation these simpler organism or organs go into the complex and advanced organs. For example, evolution of eye. The eyes of planaria are just eye spot to detect the light, which is simpler in form. It developed gradually into the complex organ in higher animal. We can see in the higher animal. And next is evolution of feather. The feather were first developed in the dinosaur and it used for protection from the cold, which means the feathers first occur in a dinosaur and the dinosaur are used this feather for the protection from the cold. But later in bird it developed and modified for the flying. Next is evolution by artificial selection. Human cultivated, for example, human cultivated wild cabbage for the over 2000 years and produced different vegetables from it by the artificial selection. By the artificial selection we can produce different varieties of particular animal or particular plant. For example, cabbage. The cabbage is developed by the selecting short distance between two leaves. You can see here in cabbage it is only leaves, but the distance between leaves is very reduced or very short. That's why the cabbage having a short distancing leaves. Next is cauliflower. It is produced by selecting sterile flower. Humans produce the cauliflower by the selecting sterile flowers. The cauliflower which we eat it is actually sterile flower. And last one is a broccoli. It is produced by arresting flower growth. We arrest the flower growth of the cabbage and that's how we produce the broccoli. Okay. Now next is embryology. By study of the embryo we can we can see the evolutionary relationship among the different species. For example, in a primitive stage of embryo we cannot differentiate between the embryos of different species. That by seeing primitive embryo we cannot say that this is the embryo of human, this is the embryo of whale, or this is the embryo of lizard. But it shows that evolutionary relationship between them, that at a primitive stage of embryo they look like similar, but later they are gradually develop their particular speciality and goes into the different and produce a different species of the different individuals of the species. The evolution should not be the equated with the process. Means the evolution has not result in the progress. This want to say that the evolution is result in the progress. Means evolution progress करने के लिए नहीं है. Evolution has result in the formation of several complex species from simple due to variation. Means evolution वो कोई प्रोसेस नहीं है जिससे स्पीसीज में प्रोग्रेस होगा. Evolution is this process which produce the different kinds of different species from the simpler species due to variation, genetic drift, natural selection. As we seen, this does not mean that new species get eliminated when new species are formed. It does not mean that when in evolution, when new species will form, that time the older species will eliminate from the environment. If that older species will capable to adapt that condition, then that time they will also live, and the new species will have certain characters, certain variation which help them to adapt with that particular environment or change with the environment. So this the only, so it means the only species which will survive in that organism which adapt to the particular change in the environment. Okay, several species which could not adapt to the change in the environment still continue to survive. For example, bacteria. We know that bacteria is very primitive in nature, but they can survive in the change in the environment. So, several species which could not adapt to their change in the environment still continue to survive. For example, bacteria. Bacteria, I say earlier that bacteria is very primitive, but it survive by the adapting with their environment. Human beings have not evolved from the chimpanzees. As old as all the people say that humans are evolved from the come from the chimpanzees, but it is actually not true, because the humans and chimpanzees are come from the same ancestor. That's why they have certain similar characters, but it does not mean that these humans are come from the chimpanzees. They both are come from the similar ancestor, which and both the species are evolved separately from each other. Okay, now human evolution. Let us see the human evolution, how humans are evolved with the time. There is great diversity among the humans being in the form and feature around the world. We can see the different kind of humans present on the earth. Let's compare the African man with the man from Europe. You will find certain dissimilarities between them, as well as at the same time you will find certain similarities between them. These dissimilarities due to the genetic variation, due to the environmental changes in different geographical regions. They develop change in their form and features. So we all know that the human beings are evolved in Africa. Some of them stay there and some of migrate towards the different parts of the world. And due to this different geographical environment, they produce certain different variation to adapt with their particular environment. And due to this variation, we can find the dissimilarities between the different organisms from the different humans from the different region of the world. The human evolution, that how humans are evolved during the time. Nearly all experts agree that Lucky was just a 3-foot tall chimpanzee, from that chimpanzees we humans are evolved with the time, and as the result of that much evolution, today the modern men are evolved, and this man and this genius men think that we are come from the chimpanzees, but actually we are not come from the chimpanzees. The chimpanzees and we are, and human and chimpanzees are both the different species, and this both the species are evolved from the common ancestor. That's why we have certain similarities with the chimpanzees, but it does not mean that we are evolved from the chimpanzees. Okay, so this is the evolution of human. So in these videos we discuss about the variation, heredity and variation, and also the evolution. And human evolution. So this is all about heredity and variation and heredity and evolution. So thank you friends, thank you students. We will see you in next video. Thank you.